BEML, Central Govt Company, 1 lakh salary, opening for freshers in Bangalore. Oh my god! Yeah, so this was actually my reaction when I got to know that there is an opening for a company secretary at a central government company. So a couple of weeks ago, in the month of September, we actually received a vacancy for a CS at a company called BEML, which is a union government company or a central government company. Yeah, it is basically into defense and manufacturing of these trucks and heavy vehicles which are also used in the army and defense. So this is a very popular name. It is also headquartered in Bengaluru. I think most of you will be aware that in case of government companies, most of the vacancies will be filled internally itself. So we will not even know when the advertisement came and when the post got filled. So it is like that quick. And you know, like we have to be so updated that whenever the vacancy circular is released on the website, you have to apply through the specified procedure, right? So usually it is pretty long. And when I got to know that the vacancy for government company is being forwarded on WhatsApp, I really didn't know if I had to believe it or not. You know, it might turn out to be fake also. The vacancies usually get published on the website, on the official website of that government company. So when such messages were being forwarded, I didn't know whether to believe or not. Yet I successfully gave an interview in a central government company for the first time ever. So today's video is going to be all about my interview experience with BEML. So yeah, without wasting much time, let's get started. Alright, so this was the WhatsApp message that was forwarded in the MSOP group. But I thought the procedure was pretty simple. It was just emailing our CV. There was no need of sending any applications through courier or post, nothing. So I thought I'll give it a try since I also satisfied that criteria. I'm a fresher company secretary. So yeah, I thought I'll go ahead and I emailed them. So after 2-3 days of emailing them, I received a reply from them that I have been shortlisted for the interview. So they were actually asking me to come down to their office, and one more thing is their corporate office is just 5 kilometers away from my house. So it was pretty near also. They sent me the shortlisting email on Saturday and they were expecting me to attend the interview on Monday. Okay, so it was like just at the last moment, at the nth moment everything happened. Somehow on Monday, I decided to attend the interview. They had actually called me around 9:30 itself. So guys, what happens in case of government companies, there's too much of document verification, inspection of all your ID proofs, address proofs. So that much of security is being followed in government companies, okay? So we actually had to carry all our original marks cards since our 10th standard. So yeah, starting off with what happened on Monday morning. Around 8:30, I left my house because I had to take a little photocopies also. You know, it's a bad habit actually. I always do such things at the last moment, which you should actually not, okay? I reached there around 9:30, exactly on time. Guys, you know, there's so much of security, there's so much of confidentiality for everything, especially because it's a defense company. So we were not allowed to take our cell phones inside. We had to leave it at the entrance. So we had a reception office. So all of us had to leave there. Then they gave me an attendance sheet to sign on that. And then, to my surprise, I found out that along with me, there were 30 other names for the interview. And I was like, oh my god. But then not all 30 had attended. That is a different case. And then I entered into a room filled with 12 other company secretaries. There was only one boy and rest everybody were ladies. I didn't know any one of them, but they all seemed to be a little experienced than me. So we all sat in that room for about 1.5 hours because that document verification had to happen for each one of us. Like each one of us had to go to the HR section for the scrutiny of all our marks cards. Like I didn't understand one point literally. See, only if we get selected or shortlisted for the next round, this verification had to happen. Otherwise, I literally didn't understand why it happened way before that. I felt it's like a waste of time. But government companies, yeah. So initial 1.5 hours, we had chai, we had biscuits and all that. We introduced to each other. There's no cell phone also to while away our time. We got along really well. We got to know where they are working and how is their experience so far and all that. Because most of us were actually tensed because it was our first experience for interviewing in a government company. And I told you that there were actually 30 names on the attendance sheet, but thank God, not all 30 had attended interview that day. So after the document verifications of all of us, the first 4 candidates were called for the interview. Okay, interview was being held at the second floor where all the interviewers were seated. These 4 candidates went for the interview upstairs and we all had to wait in that room itself. So we waited, it was half an hour. It was 1 hour, it was 1.5 hours, it was literally 2 hours and it was almost lunchtime, but those 4 candidates did not come back. We were like hungry on one side and we were tensed on another side. We don't know what's happening, there's no update, we were just put in a room. I literally felt like a mini Big Boss, but without cameras. And then these 4 candidates finally came back after the lunchtime, and the lunch was also provided by the company itself to all of us. So money was saved. So now the point is, why did those 4 candidates take so much of time? The point was, the interview panel had the managing director, the HR manager, the senior company secretary and 2-3 other directors. These people had an urgent meeting. So they kept those 4 candidates waiting at the second floor itself. Then the rest of us were so curious to know what happened, which questions they asked. But to our surprise, they told that the interview ran only for 15 minutes. Anyway, after the lunch, with all the energy, with all the josh, I was ready to go attend my round of interview. So the next 4 candidates were called, among which I was also one of them. So we went upstairs, that is to the second floor, and we were waiting in the lobby. The first girl among the 4 of us went. It took about 12 to 15 minutes for her. And next I was called. Okay, so now listen to the experience carefully, guys. I greeted them and I went inside. Literally imagine, guys, there's a boardroom, okay? All of the dignitaries, or what do you call, all the panel members were sitting on one side, I on this side. I'm like as if I'm giving a cinema audition or something, like all eyes on me. I was not tensed, but somewhere, so many thoughts were running in my head as to what will they ask me, how to answer and all that. But then they were really sweet, they made me comfortable and they asked me to introduce myself initially, so about my experience and all that, like where I worked in the past and what is my education and all that. Each of the panel member had something to ask. So initially it was the managing director, like he wanted to know why I pursued law. Okay, so that was the question he asked me. The next question was regarding what assignments have I handled during my entire professional journey. So they wanted to know if I had handled any special assignments like buyback or merger or something like that. I was actually lucky that I had handled those assignments during my CS internship. So I shared all of that with them. And then next question was, have I handled or witnessed any live AGM of any company? Obviously, since I come from an unlisted public company, agents were actually held physically. I also shared that experience. And next, coming to the technical part, since BEML is a listed company, I had actually, anticipated that most of the questions related to SEBI would be asked. Though this position was not for BEML, but for one of the group companies, which is also a central government company. That company is known as BEML Land Assets Limited. Okay, Bilal, BLAL, Bilal. Okay, so this position was for that. Since Bilal was an infant company, like it's just recently incorporated, in case there wasn't any work in Bilal, we also had to assist the main CS of BEML. That is, we also had to handle the assignments of the listed company. Okay, so that was the intention. And then, as expected, they asked me questions on SEBI. Like, they wanted to know the minimum number of directors in a listed company. And rest of the questions were about CSR, RPT, signing of financial statements, and what else? Yeah, so this was all about the technical part. And then about the salary discussions, obviously. The HR manager wanted to know my current salary and my expectations and all that. So negotiations did not happen at this stage. And then they also explained me about the job role, like what exactly should we do as a company secretary in Bilal. Actually, a major transaction was coming up in the very next week. So they wanted a company secretary on an urgent basis. Okay, because they had to get all the documents signed from them. So that's the reason that the vacancy was pulled out on the WhatsApp groups and hence was not posted on the website. I finally got an answer to my question as to why that vacancy was not posted on the website. So this is the main reason. If it was posted on the website, then they'll have to follow certain procedures like receiving applications, then screening them, shortlisting them, all such things would take time. That is the reason they actually published the vacancy on the WhatsApp group itself. So within 20 minutes, my round of interview was also done. So this way, they completed interviews of all the candidates by 3 o'clock. Okay. And then we were again asked to wait. I mean, the things go so slowly there. I don't understand if that is a procedure that's usually followed, but I feel it's way too slow. By this time, they were actually ready to announce the top 4 candidates who were shortlisted for the second round of interview. Hear it out! Finally, I was selected for the second round of interview among the 4 of them. I literally didn't expect that. After knowing this, the rest of the candidates left home. It was like 4 of us, all girls itself. Again, we were asked to wait in one room for about 1 long hour. That day, I felt like time is not moving itself. That 1 hour, we were gossiping. Like one girl, she literally had come from a town called as Manipal, which is about 350 kilometers from here. So she had taken a flight from her hometown and she had just come here for the interview purpose. Imagine she spent around 8 to 10k just for coming to Bangalore and attending the interview. I felt so lucky that I, staying in Bangalore, had the opportunity to attend it without spending any money. But then it was really nice conversing with others, getting to know them, getting to know their struggles, how they have traveled so far. Especially when you meet people from the same profession, people from the same background, you understand that each one of us has a story to share, a struggle story, a failure story, a success story. So nobody's path is really easy, and we were happy that actually our networking was also happening through this way. Since we didn't have our cell phones, what I suggested to one girl was to write down the names along with our phone numbers on a sheet of paper so that when she goes back home, she can create a WhatsApp group. This was actually done when all 12 of us were sitting. Okay. So this way we are connected to each other till date on a WhatsApp group. It's so nice, right? See, networking is very important in our profession, guys. You never know who comes to help at what time, when, where, how, you don't know. When you get a chance to expand your professional network, never miss that chance. Okay? So now I'm so happy that my CS family is extended. Whether we get selected, not selected, that is secondary. But our networking grew, right? We met new people, we shared our experiences, we heard others' experiences. This itself is very beautiful.